Okay, I'll have Kim send that to you, Mr. Maven, and to the entire board at least. Let me say that.
And we're in addition to that, where are we with the personal net worth?
We have started implementing the personal net worth back as of July. There have been firms that have been removed from the directory due to the personal net worth. Some were removed through the analysis. Some just failed to submit information to us, but it is on a regular basis now that we are implementing the personal net worth on any renewal and new application that comes in. If you want information about the lawsuit, Dustin perhaps can chime in on that to kind of give you all the legal opinion in terms of what's taking place there.
So I'm asking because that affects our ability to set goals. And if we don't know someone's no longer on the rolls, then that impacts us. So somehow I would think as a board we need to get regular updated list or information to tell us who's in and who's not.
Or a list to date of those who have been eliminated.
So, Mr. Chairman and the board, the directory is updated daily. So any firm that you see in the directory, they're meeting the city's requirements. We update that. Firms are added and drop in on a daily basis. So if we're making an analysis of firms that's showing availability, that is reflective of what's in the directory at that particular point in time. I still have some challenges, Mr. Maybe, in terms of releasing specific names regarding a personal net worth because of the lawsuit that we're still involved in. And so I haven't gotten the, let's say, the go ahead to say, here's who we're removing, why. I can give you I can give you general numbers to say, here's the number that has been removed, about 75. About 15 of those were through the analysis, and the other ones were from folks that just did not submit the required documentation. But I'm still under constraints about identifying individual names. I will tell you, though, that firms that are listed in the directory are currently meeting our requirements, whether it's personal net worth, side standards, or whatever the other requirements are. So that's what I can give you today.
On yesterday, Kimberly sent out a link to the directory of the MWBEs that was sent out to all of the Fairness Board members on yesterday. Is that what you're referring to? Is that being the directory that is updated?
Yes, sir. That directory is updated. So if you go to that link on a daily basis, it is updating. And as you, when she sent it out, I believe she sent it out with instructions in terms of going in, doing searches. So if you wanted to search for concrete or trucking, hauling firms, you can just put in that search engine and it will pull up those firms that we currently have certified in our directory as of today. So I believe
that did go out on yesterday.
Right. So now that link is good. You don't have to have another link every day. It's a good link. So just save it in your browser or something like that, and you can just click on it whenever you choose to see what firms are out there in any area that you may be looking at.
Okay. Can you have Kimberly resend it, because I did not receive it?
Okay. I think did you hear that, Kim?
Yes.
Okay. We'll make sure is that with anyone of the other board members that you all not received it?
Nope.
You didn't get is that Mr. Maven?
Yeah, that's harder than I want to work, but I will. For the goodness of the group.
Still available.
I did receive it.
City's website.
You did, Bob?
Yes, I did.
Ed? Bridget?
I think so.
I did not.
Okay.
So
I'll resend it to everybody.
Yeah, I just have her resend it to her. She'll just resend it to everybody. So just send me an email if you do not receive it, probably by the end of today.
Okay.
Some of us retired types don't check our emails the way we used to. Not as often.
Okay, well, I hope everybody gets that. That would help us also be able to identify the firms, some of which we have questioned as to whether they're still certified or not. Go right ahead.
Are we going to have the discussion about whether or not we put numbers to the availability?
Yes, so we will need some direction on that. I know that came from projects earlier. If you all wanted to see something like that, I know Mr. Maben, you talked about, the board had talked about that earlier when we started looking at some of these statutory agency projects and, you know, the analysis that we were given and showing that those numbers. So whatever the preference of the board is, we'll make it happen. Just let us know.
I just think it's
But we
misleading,
do
but I
know,
think it's a discussion we ought to have.
but we do, or should we go out with the understanding when you have availability for a particular area that there are at least 2 firms.
Yes.
See,
I mean,
it
I think
makes
this is
HRD
what,
make
this is what,
a capability analysis, and that's what I don't like about it.
This is Sonia again. Sorry. So availability
go ahead,
means,
Sonia.
sorry, availability means that there is a firm available. It really doesn't have anything to do with capability. It's just
It has everything to do with
correct?
capability. You can have asphalt and be certified in that scope, but not have the machinery to repave a street. Capability, you may have a concrete. Then HRD has to make the evaluation of whether or not there's a minority or woman-owned company that can do structural concrete. So it's not just that you can do concrete. And then we're not even going to talk about HRD making assessments based on what scopes they've been certified to perform without any evidence that they've ever performed that scope. I'm
That's a
just
hot
saying.
button.
Yep.
No, that's a hot button. That's a good one.
Mr. Yeller?
You still
And I
on,
ahead,
will accede to whatever the pleasure of the group is.
you still on, Mr. Perez?
Okay. My recommendation would be for this board to do, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than anybody else, but what I tend to do is to log on to that directory. So if the city demonstrates that there's enough capacity in electrical scope, I can click on electrical and find out who specifically is in that scope and whether or not I agree that those companies have the capability of doing that scope of work. And we can make better judgments that way. And it's really an easy, fast process. But that's the kind of things that Joe and I would encourage the women to know their community and know those companies that are listed and what their capabilities are. And quite frankly, I don't think there's anybody else in town that would know their community's capabilities than the 3 groups.
Well, it would certainly increase the credibility of the MBE WBE directory in terms of scopes of work and would definitely help the program. That's been an ongoing issue. You know, it's like me claiming I'm a 4-minute miler, and the only thing I show you is a pair of running shoes. But then you take me out and run me and you go, no, you're just a slow 10-minute a mile runner, buddy.
I'm going to take issue with that 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think it's more like 20.
Yeah, could be.
Ed, let me give you a good example because I'm living it right now. I'm about to walk into a room with 10 disgruntled Hispanic contractors who have not been paid. And when you look up this guy's, the guy that isn't paying him on the directory, he's certified in 15 to 20 different scopes.
Yeah.
Now, I know he's not capable of performing those, but who better than someone that's in the community to know? I'm not faulting the city. I'm just saying he's got so many NACE codes that there's no way you can be a heavy contractor and a roofer and a paver and a electrician and a painter and all these things. So that's how we start weeding these guys out.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
So-
On another note, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ms. Williams.
I don't know if everybody saw Dustin's email yesterday about
The
us
15
one-
days.
yeah, the 15 days. My question is because a couple of those projects were held because no one from the department showed up. So is the clock still ticking?
No, I tried to include that. I forgot how I
Okay.
worded it, but yeah, when I said, our interpretation is that it's when they're there. Obviously you all can't do much if nobody's there to present it. So
Right.
once they're there, the time would start.
So
And then-
Dustin, you're saying although we have the project on the agenda and if the department does not show up, the clock does not start ticking against the board, making that determination within 15 days. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, correct. They need to,
Okay.
I mean, that's how we've always interpreted is they need to be there in order to present. So.
Okay.
Well, even Dustin, this is to you, even if they're there and there are points of clarifications that the board need to be able to properly be able to set a defendable goal, wouldn't that give us the ability for them to go back and come back to us with the information we need?
Yeah, even then. So the first project today is one that you were asking for, clarification on segmentation of scopes of work. There's been a couple others that have been held for different reasons. And so I was more just wanting to send that reminder for those projects.
And so if you surpass the 15 days, then what happens?
I don't know because it's never happened. We haven't been challenged on it. I think it's just
Okay.
we need to stick to what the code says because that's a can of worms. I don't even want to have to open at any time. So
Okay.
and I mean I think we've had this conversation, and that's why I think I called it a periodic reminder because I think we talk about it about once a year, once every couple of years. So and it was more for the benefit of the new members of the board than some of you have been here longer than I certainly have. So.
Okay.
They jail us in the.
I think he's
parking
talking about
lot.
Joe and Ed and Ray.
And Bridget.
The devil's in the
Now,
details.
Because I think Dustin and I are pretty close in age. I'm in my 30s.
I was talking about time on the board. Don't try to turn this into an ageism lawsuit or something.
Age is more than a number.
So, Mr. Chair and members of the board, we asked our consultant to join us in this meeting today to see if you guys have any questions for her regarding the program and what we're doing, that kind of thing.
I didn't hear that.
Mr. Chair, I said, Mr. Chair, members of the board, we asked our consultant, Colette Holden Associates, to join us to see if there was any question you guys had for her regarding the disparity study and how those things work and the goals. I see she has a hand up out there.
Yes.
Ladies, best wishes.
Colette, Ms. Holden, if you could unmute your phone and speak. I see your hand up, but also saw that you were muted.
Hey, Philip.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I apologize again, but I'm about to walk in this meeting because they're not going to wait for me any longer. So I apologize to you and the board, but I'll wait to hear the minutes or any feedback if you need to get a hold of me.
You guys
Can
heard?
you all hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Teams, I can't hardly get it to work. So
I can't, I had to call back in. I can see you all and I can hear you, but it just won't let me do it. I don't know. It doesn't play well with Macs. I think it's part of the problem. But so anyway, so I'm on now, but I had to get on and off a bit because I just had too much to do. It's been 3 hours, but so I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Belated best wishes.
Oh, thank you.
Does the board have any questions for Ms. Holt?
Shoot, I was hoping that the council would. They're the ones that didn't quite understand how we operate.
Well, this is Ed DeSoignier with the Heavies, Colette. First of all, welcome back. It's good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're, pardon me, saw the Kansas City newspaper this morning, but there's an article in that paper where apparently Department of Justice in the closing days of the former administration has filed I don't know if you could call it a request or a demand with the city to turn over records concerning the MBE WBE program. Were you aware of any of this?
Well, I certainly know about the letter. I haven't seen the newspaper article, but
Yeah.
but I have seen the demand or whatever you want to call it from the bar administration. Yes.
And does any of what is, I haven't seen the letter, so I mean, is there anything in there, in your opinion, I mean, based on what you've done with the city and with its Croson study and all these things, anything we should be concerned about?
No, I don't think so. And I'm certainly hoping, I know Dustin was on the line maybe a little earlier. I'm not, as I said, I've been kind of on and off this morning. So I may have missed some of the conversation about who else, but I'm happy to work with the city's law department and with Mr. Yelder or whoever else we need to draft a response. This strikes me as nothing more than an attack on a well-functioning, successful contracting civil rights program by the outgoing administration. I think it's a fair comment that the Trump administration was not particularly supportive of civil rights, and certainly the Justice Department under Mr. Barr followed that lead. And so I think all this is just that we saw a program we could attack. Let's go after it. It is my understanding, as best I could tell from the letter, which was not very concrete, but that's probably because there's really nothing for them to be concrete about, that there may have been some kind of a complaint filed. And I do know under the Justice Department procedures that they can't just ignore that now. They will need some type of response from the city. But certainly my expectation is that the city, and I say, again, I'm happy to help draft that, we'll send a response that explains that, in fact, the city's program is fully conversant with the Croson case and the cases that have followed it, that it is constitutional, that it is based on a disparity study, that the program is narrowly tailored, and is well within best practices, and in fact, in many ways, is a leader in the industry in its application and administration. So. I was a lot less worried on November 7th, January 7th rather. But I think we can all breathe a sigh of relief about a lot of stuff, and this is just one of them. But I don't think that there's no substance to this. Okay. The thing that honestly has surprised me a little bit was the fact that the Trump administration took so long to start coming after contracting civil rights and MWBE programs. I mean, they certainly did, plenty of damage to civil rights in other areas, but it kind of left this alone. So for which I guess we should all be grateful. But I think we can absolutely make this go away. And no, I have absolutely no concerns about it at all on the merits.
Okay.
Well, he was probably too busy calling secretaries of state, trying to get outcomes changed. So, okay, that's good
Yeah,
to hear.
no offense
Thank
to
you.
you people in Missouri, but you got your hands full there. That's all I can say.
Yes.
Yes, you
It's
did.
embarrassing.
It's changed a lot since I lived there 20 years ago. I'll leave it at that.
So, Colette, this is Bridget. How are you?
Uh-huh. Hi.
I wanted to ask, there was a council meeting not long ago where a council person attempted to change the goals that the Fairness Board had set at a committee meeting. How would that affect the program if that would have happened?
Well, I don't know exactly that I certainly want to have more facts about it, but I think the key to overall is that goals have to be narrowly tailored and they have to be based on availability. They can't just be because somebody would like them to be some other number, be it higher or lower perhaps. That you have to have a justifiable, defensible rationale for how a contract goal was set. And so, the Fairness Board has had a process for a very, very long time, certainly ever since I was involved with the program, and that's all the way back to the late 90s. And so, if that's the process the city sets, then that's the process the city sets. And so I certainly would be concerned about, anyone coming in, regardless of who they were, after the fact and not having been a part of a documented, defensible, replicatable, long-standing process to just say, oh, we want some number. I mean, maybe they would want to lower the goal. That may not have been the intention there, but I just think it's very important for people to be careful about how you go about this, because where the litigation has moved in the last, I don't know, call it 8 to 10 years maybe, is much more away from challenging the basis for having a program. So in other words, really engaging about a disparity study or whether or not you have evidence that there are still race and or gender-based barriers to an agency's contracting opportunities. It's moved away from that more towards how programs are being administered. And so the challenges are tending to be about whether or not the program is narrowly tailored than about whether or not it has a sufficient evidentiary basis for you to do something. The question is, what something is that the agency decided to do? And so, any messing around with the process without, conversation, documentation, I think is relatively ill-advised. I mean, the one thing that you could not survive is somebody being able to prove that you kind of just made it up. And that's not what you're doing at all here, so please don't misunderstand me. You have a process, you follow it, you documented it, and so, kind of stick with it. If somebody raises objections, it seems to me, bless all your hearts, you've been on this call for 3 hours and 20 minutes, that you certainly have a lot of opportunity for people to have input. You have a very transparent process, and there is a way for those who are interested to provide any additional information that would help you to make a decision. So that works. That's great. Kind of post hoc revisions strike me as at least potentially problematic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Ms. Hope, Ray Malone here. I'd certainly like to thank you for joining us and kind of clarifying to us also, that our program is very defendable, and the method in which we're going about it is something that would stand scrutiny. So I'd like to thank you.
No, you're doing fine. I'm not worried about you all. I have some other people I'm worried about, but the city of Kansas City, Missouri is definitely not one of them.
I'm happy to hear you're back in Chicago.
Well, actually, I'm not in Chicago. I still have a place there, which I'm trying to sell, but I got married last year, and my husband is from Texas originally, and his family is here in San Antonio and Austin, so we moved down here. So now Ted Cruz is my senator. All right.
Oh
what can I
my
say?
goodness.
I know.
You're as
I know.
bad off
This is
as
a
we
very-
are.
Yeah, aren't you
I
lucky?
know, I know. It really is something. And it's very different, but we really like it here. And we moved here and we basically got locked down right away. And this is a whole lot easier place to spend the winter if you can't go anywhere than Chicago would be. So it's all fine. It's good. I like it. It's a whole lot less expensive than living in California. So that's a good thing. And so we're good, still doing work for everybody all over the place. We can't travel anywhere now, but I think we're all getting used to this virtual format. Although, as I say, I use all the platforms all the time. I do 3 or 4 of these a day sometimes, and Teams is by far my least favorite, but because it just doesn't let me in easily. But at least I've learned how to call in. I was all prepared to be on camera. These days that means you have to like comb your hair and try not to look like you're sitting in your pajamas. But too late.
But there are some good sides to it.
Yeah, there definitely are. And I don't have to apologize for we have a lot of pets wandering around in the background and carrying on.
Cats.
We have 3 cats and a puppy named Charlie Parker.
That's all right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I will hang up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, you will always be a Kansas Citian. You will always be a Kansas Citian as far as we're concerned. So we just hope that you're rooting with us for, yes, go Chiefs.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll be able to come and see you all in the next, I don't know, year.
That'll work.
I'm optimistic. So thanks,
Would be
everybody.
nice.
Have a good rest of your day. And the world is looking a little bit brighter. So it's all good.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now. Thank you.
Once again, thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. No problem.
Thanks for chiming in.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, are we all clear? Is there anything else before this body?
Mr. Chair, have we ever gotten a response from the city council regarding our request for an independent audit?
Philip?
We sent the letter, as you all know, I forgot when, back in August, I guess, September, but I've not heard anything back. I thought if there was a response, it would probably go directly to the chair first, and we will be copied, but we have not heard anything. If you like, I can try and follow up with the council office, the mayor's office, to see what that looks like. If you like for me to research that, I can do that.
Well, it'd be nice to know. I mean, if the city council just says it's, no, we don't want to do it, or they just didn't deem it necessary, it'd be nice to know why they haven't responded.
I'll follow up with the mayor's office and let you know.
Anything else? If there's nothing else before this body, I move that the meeting be adjourned.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Stay healthy.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Since I haven't seen anyone, everyone have a happy new year.
You too.